Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button, it will help me out massively. If you keep coming back, then please just smash the subscribe button. It really lets me know what's going on and if people like it or not. Yeah, I did say we were going to do a headlight for the next one, and I've actually done it, but it didn't go the way that you would have expected. Now, the reason being for that was I ordered one and it ended up being, one, the wrong colour because I wanted it in black, and two, it ended up being really tiny. As in, it could have fit a pit bike and looked normal, but when I actually put it up against this, it just looked totally wrong. So I'll just show a little picture of it in here. So I'll just let it slide down, cover my face because you're sick of seeing it. And we'll let that slide back up. And basically, it just ended up being too small. It really didn't look right, and it just really made the bike look a bit off, and it wasn't what I was trying to achieve. So in the end, we've gone for the stock headlight, but with a bit of a twist. And the twist is the fact that I like to get a bit handy with a handsaw. So, because I used to be a carpenter, it's pretty much, I cut it down, I reshaped it, I changed it so it's a bit more fitting, and there's reasons as to why. Again, like I said with the mudguard, there's reasons why I do that, there's reasons as to why I do with the handlebar risers, and there's also reasons as to what I do with the headlight. It's all about the design and getting that style right, because design is what makes things look Instagram worthy. So, as it's the Instagram build, we're going to chop that down and I'll show you how it turns out. Now, I've already done it before, because it's a bit like Blue Peter, so this is why my handlebars are facing the other way. So yeah, just a little bit of forward planning and a little bit of forward thinking. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the video and you might learn a few things, and yeah, it'll probably look easier in the video than it actually was. It's actually really fiddly. But yeah, without further ado, let's just crack on with it. So, this is where it gets a little bit different, and that probably wasn't what you were expecting to see. However, I ended up having an issue with my camera card and the whole thing basically in the bin. So absolutely gutted, live and learn, not quite sure what it was that went wrong, but anyway, I lost all the footage of me actually doing it in a step-by-step, and it's quite gutting because I'd actually done really well on it. I was quite impressed with, you know, how I structured it and all of that kind of stuff. However, because I've cut everything, I can't exactly super glue it back on and do it all over again. So I'm just going to have to do it slightly differently. So as you can see now, with the headlight and the hand guards, I was trying to achieve what they do with like the Super Enduros and with sort of motocross, because obviously they have like the name placard, but obviously here is the headlight. The headlight, after being raised by the mudguard and stuff, came out and it was still quite tall. It was so tall, in fact, it was sort of like in line with everything else, and again, it just looked that little bit off. And now I've actually cut that quite nicely, and it fits in there really nice and snug, quite a straight line with about 3mm, give or take, where it's just a little bit over. So yeah, it looks like it was from a factory fitting, so to speak. So just to show exactly what it is that I actually cut off, it's effectively that shape there. Now, just to give you an idea, because I'm still running that stock headlight, as you can see now, it's looking just that little bit nicer. I mean, I'm pleased with it because it's come out really nice. So straight edge down here and straight edge there, and also it's quite complimenting because you've got the straight here, the straight there, and then straight across. So it's come out really nice. But the actual part that I cut off went here. So as you can see, it gives that whole rounded sort of peak, and it's just too decor. So I actually cut that off, and straight away it's just nicer, more aggressive looking. I then had the parts on this side that I decided by the indicators to cut off. So obviously here is on this side, and I decided that instead of having that bit there, I just decided to remove it. And by removing it, honestly, it's a bit more like a husky sort of styling. So obviously I'm really pleased. And the way that I actually did it is, if I put this thing back here, so the way that I actually did it and doing the cut was, I followed this line that went across here, used that as a reference as to where it was that it changed in direction. And the same again with this side. I gave it a quick notch on one side, a quick notch on the other side, and then run the saw straight across it. Now obviously with The other side over here, it was a case of chopping one off, flipping that bit over, using a marker pen on the other side, match it up and cut it off on the right side of the line, and it's ended up coming out looking spot on. Now obviously taking off a headlight is actually a lot easier than you'd think. It's 4 of these little rubber bands, in a sense. They're a bit annoying, but try not to break them because they're actually quite expensive. So you have all 4 of those, you take those off, unpull the wires, and then you can move it over to wherever it is you're going to cut. So obviously naturally here I ended up cutting it and trying to show you roughly the shape in effect of what was cut off. So obviously that was probably a bit more over here, a bit more over there. Anyway, the actual headlight itself was just absolutely ugly. I just personally didn't like it at all. So obviously once you cut it off, just make sure you run a bit of sandpaper over it, nice and smooth, and it should effectively, just a bit like that, just nice and simple, and it will just smoothen it out, and it just gives it that nice sort of finish. Now I quite like it because it's ended up looking a bit more like aggressive and a bit more of the endurance, and personally, even from front end view, it's just that much nicer. It's cleaner, it resembles the squareness of what it is, or like a number plaque, and it sets the bike right too, so definitely pleased with that. Now as you can see, I did cut it with the face down, so it's got quite a few bits of scuff marks here and there. Now that for me isn't really an issue, and the reason for that is because I'm actually wanting to paint the bike. There's certain parts of the bike that are going to be a different colour, hence the headlight that I did order ended up turning up in white, and it was just, no, that's not what I want. I've got in mind of what I want to do, however I can't give too much away straight away. So with that being said, thank you for watching, and I'm terribly sorry about the video being this way. So as you can see, it definitely came out looking the nuts. I'm really pleased with it. It's got that little Husqvarna sort of feel, that boxy shape to it, which is really good because that's more in keeping with the rest of the bike. Now, I don't really like the Art Deco style of the 1920s on a motorcycle. It just doesn't make sense. I don't quite know why Sinnis made that kind of headlight. Was it Asabid or whoever it is that designed it? It's just awful. It doesn't fit well. It's like a splayed sort of front, and just, it's not aggressive. It's not something you kind of expect to see on a dirt bike, so that's why I changed it up. Overall, I'm actually really pleased with it because I didn't like the headlight, but now that I've boxed it and trimmed it, it's just looking on point. I'm actually really pleased with it, and obviously the tip of it fits in quite well with the mudguard, so bonus all the way around. The whole thing looks like it's meant to be fitting, and it looks like that's how it came from stock. That's the main idea of it. I want it to look as though it came out really cool from the factory. However, I know a lot of people might be like, well, hang on a second, you need to change this, you need to change that, do a proper build. But the actual truth is that sometimes you don't need to change everything. And at the same time, I want it still to look like a Sinnis Apache or a Pulse Adrenaline, Lex Moto Adrenaline. I want that look to still be there. The reason being is I want it to be that you can see it and go, oh wow, that is that bike. You know, I don't want to completely overhaul it and be like, wow, what is it, and no one know what it is. No, the idea of the goal is to make sure that you still know what bike it is that's underneath. So we are nearing the time now where basically a lot of other bits are now needing to come off because the overall building as such is kind of already there. Now I'm pleased with the way it is, and obviously it would be a bit longer, but because I've already prepped this bike and built this bike previously, there's a lot of things on here that aren't exactly stock. So if you want a little bit more knowledge about that, then I'll put my link over there in the link in the description, or you can press that video which shows you everything else that I have done to the bike. So obviously I've now changed the mudguard, I've trimmed down the headlight, I've put even higher bar risers, all of this kind of stuff that basically I'm just changing and tweaking and doing little minor things. But for the future videos, then I'm going to actually have to start taking things off, start painting them, start colour matching them, just to make it look really spot on. And then obviously the ultimate will be when I do the design work of the graphics kit, and what I've got in mind is absolutely mental. Really can't wait, but that is still for quite a while yet. So If you like these videos, please smash the subscribe button. It will really help me. And yeah, give it a thumbs up, give it a like. Go on, just help me out a little bit. And leave a comment down below if you really want to know anything else about the bike. Also, I have got an Instagram account and I do have a Facebook account. So if you want to follow me on those as well, that'd be much appreciated. But yeah, until next time, or Wednesday, you're just going to have to ride it out.